guys, it's Abby. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a first impressions review and tutorial on the new Huda Beauty Desert Dusk eyeshadow palette. I'm extremely excited about this palette, as I am with everything I try out, but this palette to me stood out and the shades are absolutely gorgeous, and I was so excited to try this out for the first time. I got it about 4 or 5 hours before I started filming this video, and I've been waiting for this palette for about a week to get in the mail, and I was so excited. I dashed down the stairs, I grabbed the package, I opened it up right away, and I have just been so excited to finally film this video. But before I start talking a little more about the palette, please give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe so you can check out my other videos when I upload. And other than that, we can get right on into the video and more about the palette. So in this palette there are 18 shades, and on Sephora's website it has a little rundown of the different types. There are 8 matte eyeshadows, there are 6 pressed pearl eyeshadows, there are 3 duochrome topper eyeshadows, and there is 1 pure glitter eyeshadow. In the next few clips I will be swatching these and going more into depth about this product, and then I will be doing a tutorial and my official first impressions on this product. So with that being said, I think we should just hop right on into the swatches. So I'm just going to start out with the first shade here called Desert Sand. And we will just, I will do like a close-up at the end where I'll like insert it above whatever. And that one is a matte shade and it was pretty creamy. It's a little powdery on my arm, but it is pretty creamy. So then I will move on to the next shade called Musk. And this is also a matte shade. Also creamy, slightly less powdery than the last one, which is good. The next shade is called Eden, and once again another matte shade. This one was also slightly powdery but very creamy. And then the next shade called Amber, also matte. Ooh, this one is the most pigmented so far, and once again still a little powdery but extremely pigmented. Okay, so this next one called Blood Moon is considered a pressed pearl eyeshadow, so I'm going to swatch that now. Ooh, it feels really nice and like smooth in the palette. That looks really pretty on my finger. I'll swatch that here. Oh my god. That is like one of the most beautiful eyeshadows I've ever seen. It is so creamy. That was just like a few, like maybe 3 swirls and then 1 swipe. Next I'm going to be moving on to, I think it's called Oud, I don't know, it's spelled O-U-D, and it is another matte shade. Running out of places to swatch. That's fine. That one's really pigmented too. Once again, a little powdery. The one up top, it is slightly powdery as well. I think all of them are. The next one is called Celestial, and let me just see. Celestial is a duochrome topper. Ooh, that feels super buttery. That looks really pretty too. It's not like this one, obviously it's not the same like formula. It's definitely not as creamy as the last one. The next one is called Neferti, and this one as well as a pressed pearl eyeshadow. This one feels like it has a little more glitter in it than Blood Moon did. It feels a little rougher on my finger. Ooh. Yeah, it didn't come out quite as pigmented as this one did, but that is beautiful. It's like a nice champagne-y peachy color. Next one is called Twilight, and this one is one of the duochrome toppers. That is super pretty. I love that. That is so pretty. Next one is called Amethyst, and this one is a matte shade. That one's not quite as pigmented as the other matte shades, but it's still a very pretty color. It would complement the one above it very well in a look. Now the next one is called Royal, and I believe this is one of the pearl ones. Yeah, it is one of the pressed pearl eyeshadows. We'll just go right here. Wow. That is really pretty. I think it's the same, like, it like went on just like how this one did. Super smooth. You just can't really tell because I wasn't able to make the swatch much longer just because I'm like out of room, but I still want it all to be on one arm. Now the next one is called Retrograde, and this one is one that I am most excited for. I saw these swatches on Huda Beauty's Snapchat story, and this shade, it is literally the prettiest shade I have ever seen, so I'm so excited to try this out. This one is one of the duochrome topper eyeshadows. That is so pretty. Once again, not a very good swatch because I can't really reach that way. But oh my god, I am definitely going to be trying that one out in specific today. But now for the bottom row. Next we have Cashmere, which this is a pressed pearl eyeshadow. Here is the swatch. Ooh, that is really pigmented too. I saw a video of someone that they weren't very pigmented, and I was a little concerned, but honestly I have no idea what the heck they were talking about because these shades are extremely pigmented. But next I'm going to be going into the shade Angelic, which I believe is another pressed pearl eyeshadow. That's really pretty. It's like a peachy shade. It kind of reminds me of the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. That had a little bit of powderiness to it, but it still went on beautifully. I love this shade. It honestly really reminds me of one from the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. So the next shade is called Cosmo, and this one is just a pure glitter eyeshadow. Super glittery. Obviously like slightly patchy because it's like straight up glitter, but that is beautiful. It has flecks of copper, pink, and gold in it. The next one is called Turkish Delight, and this one is a pressed pearl eyeshadow. That is really pretty too. And then the last two shades that we have are both matte shades. We have one called Saffron, which I will swatch right now. That's like a straight up red color. And then the last one is called Blazing. Let me try that again. That one doesn't seem... That one is definitely not as pigmented as the rest, but it is still a pretty shade. Although, personally, out of all of these shades, I think that would probably be my least used one. Yeah, so now I have done all of those gajillion swatches on both of my arms. I'm going to move on to the look part of this. So let me get closer to the camera and then we can get on to the actual first impressions on my face. I feel like I look extremely washed out this close up, but that's fine. So I'm going to start out by priming with my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, which I do before every eye look, just so I know that I'm not changing any steps beforehand, so I can compare it to how things usually blend out. And then next, I don't usually show this step, but I always set my concealer with my Coty Loose Airspun powder, so I'm going to do that now. So next, going into the palette, I'm going to be taking my Morphe M441 brush, and I'm going to be dipping into Desert Sand. Oh, there's actually a lot of kickback. And I'm just going to be blending that into the crease for our transition shade. So far, I'm not having any problems with this shadow. It's blending out perfectly fine, and it is still very pigmented on the brush. Next, I am going to be going into the shade called Eden, and I'm going to be applying that to my crease as well. And there is a little bit of kickback with the shade too. And then now I'm just going to be taking the shade Eden, and I'm going to be applying that all over the lid as well. So far, I am extremely impressed with these eyeshadows. I really love how they blend out. So now I'm going to be going into the shade Amethyst, and I'm going to be applying that to my outer corner. And then once I have it in the outer corner, I'm going to be blending it up into the crease. So I really love the way that shadow blended out as well. And now I'm going to be doing a half cut crease. So I'm going to do that part off camera. But I'm going to be using my Tarte Shade Tape Concealer, which I do every time, so I know if something is off about the shadows or anything is different than usual, because I know how this concealer works with shadows. So now that I've done that, it is time for the most exciting part. I'm going to be using the shade Retrograde, which I am most excited about, and I'm going to be applying that right over the concealer. So first I'm going to try it dry and see how it applies. I'm going to spray my brush with a little bit of Fix Plus, and then I'm going to go in. There we go. So definitely for this shade, and I'm assuming then the other ones like it, I would recommend using Fix Plus, because it did have a decent amount of fallout on my face, which is surprising for this type of shadow. But it came out absolutely beautifully. And see, on this side of my face where I did use Fix Plus the whole time, there is virtually no fallout. So like I said, it's an absolutely beautiful shade. I would just recommend using Fix Plus or some sort of setting spray to make sure it all stays together and goes on how it's supposed to. Then next I'm going to be taking the same blending brush that I was using before, and I'm just going to be dipping a little bit into Amethyst, and I'm going to be blending that with the shade we just applied, so it is not such a harsh line. So now I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to apply my lashes, and I'm going to do the rest of my face because I want to focus on just the palette for this video, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do the lower lash line, and then I will do my final first thoughts. So now for the under eye, I'm going to be going in with the shade Royal, and I am going to be applying that to the outer corner of the lower lash line. And then with the same brush, I am going to be spraying it with Fix Plus, and I'm going to be going into Retrograde, and I'm going to be applying that into the inner portion of the lower lash line. And then finally for the inner corner, I'm going to be taking this shade right here called Twilight, and I'm going to be spraying my brush with Fix Plus first again. And then finally, I'm going to be applying the L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara in Carbon Black to my lower lashes off camera. So this right here is the final look using the new Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. And I absolutely love the shades that I've used. They blended out amazingly, and I had no problems with them whatsoever. There was a little bit of fallout with this shade right here. However, honestly, this is the most beautiful shade in the palette, and most palettes have some fallout, but I did not have any fallout with any of the matte shades. So I'm definitely very impressed with this palette as it performed for the first time. I'm so happy I purchased this. But like I said, I absolutely love this palette. I give this palette a 10 out of 10. And I'm definitely going to be using it a lot. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!